Yes, my name is Sherry, and before I get started, I want to say a disclaimer here. All these stories I'm telling this evening is true stories, true to me. The people in these stories don't exactly think they're true. Not all of them, anyway. If they dispute the stories, let them get up here and tell them their way, with their knees shaking and the sweat, their palms sweaty and dripping down to their hair. That's the way I say it, anyway. I like to when people tell me or ask me, "Where are you from?" With this funny accent and all that. I am from a coal mining, moonshining West Virginia mountaintop. I grew up on a top of a hill, down in a holler. And I talk a little funny. But English is my second language, and if y'all have problems understanding me, I am fluent in hillbilly and southern, so I can interpret, just so you know. So, sorry, I got lost. A little memory lapse there, sorry. That's what lightning does to you, or a kick in the head with a horse. That has happened. Had a friend tell me this evening, break a leg. I told him, "Oh no, please don't tell me that. You don't know what you've done to me. I had the worst luck. You have just cursed me. I have the worst luck because my dad says that I could trip over a chalk line. I mean, it has happened. It really has. I stay inside whenever I hear that NASA is going to bring one of their satellites back into out of orbit. I'm pretty sure that there is an invisible bullseye tattooed on the top of my head. I do not want to be the headline on the newspaper the next morning. The newspaper headline says, NASA satellite back into orbit, destroyed after hitting Myrtle's Inlet woman in the head. The woman was not injured. And then NASA will sue me. Did I also mention that my dad says I'm hard-headed? I tried carrying a rabbit's foot around in my pocket for good luck. It didn't work. That dang thing kept running off. Of course, maybe I should have cut the foot off the rabbit foot first. Hindsight's always 20/20. Yeah. Kids will say the darndest things. I have a 3-year-old great nephew. Being a great aunt is wonderful. You can feed them pop and candy and shake them up and send them home. Of course, when they come to your house and you have to watch them, no, not fun. I've been trying to help potty train my great nephew. My sister brought him down to the house and she was just wore out. She's sitting on the bathtub behind him. He was sitting in there in front of the toilet. And I have heard that boys are worse than girls to try to potty train. I am finding out this is the truth. He's standing in front of the toilet and I'm standing over at the sink, getting ready to block the door. Blocking the getaway. Nope, you can't get by. I just got out of bed. I'm standing there, looking in the mirror. I can't look at him, but I've got the peripheral vision going on. And he's standing there looking around. And he's trying every ploy in the book to try to keep from going to the potty. I'm standing there thinking, just pee, would you please? Well, I've got stuff stuff sitting on the back of my toilet, you know, just extra toiletries, shampoos, you know, mousse, hairspray, stuff like that. You know, of course he can't talk plain. It's so cute, unless you've, you know, just got up and you're wanting to eat breakfast. He's down there looking at it and he said, "What all that?" I'm thinking, I'm not naming all that stuff. I got your game, boy. I know what you're doing. I looked at him and I said, "Oh, that's just all the stuff that makes Sissy all pretty." The boy never missed a beat. He never smiled. He looked me dead in the eye and he said, "Gonna try again, Sissy?" I'm looking at him like, geez, I just got out of bed. You know, I didn't have a hair on my head. None of the hairs on my head pointing in the same direction. You can't catch a break, I'm telling you. You know, once you've been called ugly, it seems to catch on. First date I had with my ex, notice I said ex, sort of had the same issue. Our first date, I'll try to put it nicely, you know, my ex got plastered. I wasn't drinking, so I was driving, and we were driving around in his part of the country, you might say. You know, we lived different areas of the state, and we were driving around, and it was wee early morning hours. I just wanted to take him home and drop him off, and go home and go to sleep. He had other ideas. He just wanted to drive around. I'd get close to his house and he'd say, "Turn up this road, turn up that road." Well, I knew the basic area, you know, the major roads. Well, he just kept taking me up these side roads, and I'm thinking, "Oh, please, let's get too close to your house so I can shove you out and go home." So we turned up this one road. He said, you know, mind you, remember, he's drunk. And he said, you know what? And I said, "Now what?" I like you. I'm thinking, wow, you know, I'd been around him enough that evening to realize he wasn't real forthcoming with his feelings. I was kind of impressed. And I said, okay, well, I like you too. He said, you know how come I like you? And I said, "No, but I got a feeling you're going to tell me." And he said, "Yeah, I like you because you're homely." Well, I stopped the car and I told him, I said, "Get out." And he just looked at me with the most innocent look on his face, and he said, "Well, why?" So I started moving the car along a little bit, you know, back country road, couldn't go very fast. I said, "Won't you tell me your definition of homely?" He said, "Well, you know, you like to stay at home and do things around the house." I said, "That's homey, you dingbat, not homely." He said, "Well, what's the definition of homely?" I said, "Well, homely means you're ugly." He said, "Well, you that too." I stopped the car, reached across him, opened the door, and tried to push him out. I didn't push hard enough. We was married 13 months later. I just never learned. I swear. Then you get around the family. Ah, man. Have you ever looked at your family and thought, "I have got to be adopted"? Or ever looked at them and thought, "I hope I'm adopted"? You know, if there's a God, I am got to be adopted. You know, you remember when they first come out with the weather cubes? They were just a little square box that just, you know, had an antenna you pulled up, a little button on the front you pushed down. It was already tuned to the weather station. My dad was in heaven. The man thought there is nothing better. Well, I was walking back through the hallway one day. We was having a real bad thunderstorm. I mean, lightning was crashing around, thunder was shaking the windows. It was raining so hard, it was like, the angels was pouring water out of buckets, Well, here stood my dad at the back door. They lived in a mobile home. It was nothing but a lightning rod anyway. He had the back door cracked open, and he had that lightning rod, antenna, stuck out the back door. And, just like the door cracked, he had that thing sticking out there. Had that thing going. Come back through there, I'm looking, I said, "What you doing, Dad?" He said, "Checking the weather, see if it's going to rain." I sort of looked down through the window. I said, "Think it's going to rain, Dad? Think it's going to storm." He looked at me like, "Really?" And I said, "If you don't get that lightning rod back in the window, you're going to be sporting a new hairdo." He looked at me, gave me the dirtiest look. When Daddy gives you that look, you don't like it. So I sort of got out of there real quick. I don't know what really made me move the fastest. If it was the dirty look Daddy gave me, or if it was the lightning rod that was still sticking out the door. Whenever I first came to Myrtle's Inlet here to live, I went to breakfast with my dad. He gives breakfast every morning, has breakfast with this group of people. I met one of his friends, and apparently I said something a little smart of it maybe to one of them, and he looked at me and he said, "You know what, you are your father's daughter." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yep." He said, "Because you are just like him." And I said, "Well," I said, "he always told me that my mouth was going to get me in trouble." I said, "Personally, I think he was speaking from experience." He said, "Yeah. Families, speaking of families will drive you nuts. Everybody's got one, so you know what I'm talking about. I love my family, but they will drive you crazy. I love mine, but I hope I don't act like them. Mine was driving me kind of nuts not too long ago, and I thought I was going to end up in a crazy house. And then I got to thinking, you know what? My address is not going to change. But at least I wouldn't have to learn a new one. Nerves, they'll drive you so crazy, they'll make your nerves just on edge. And it'll make your hair fall out. My hair has fallen out so bad that the only job I'm going to be able to be qualified for is a model at a cue ball factory. It's just all coming out. I get up in the morning time and look at my pillow. It looks like I've been sleeping with Sasquatch. I got a week of rug with that stuff. Growing up, my younger sister, by the time she was in the 4th grade and I was in the 7th grade, we were the same size. Then she outgrew me. And when we were in high school, I walked up to her, and of course she was bigger than I was at that time. And I punched her. I drew back real hard and I punched her in the shoulder, and she didn't shudder. She didn't know nothing. She never even moved. She looked at me and, was I afraid of her? No. No. Heck yeah, I was. Still am. Well, no, I'm not afraid of her. I just respect, that she can beat the crap out of me anytime she wants to. But I drew back and I hit her in the shoulder, and she looked down at me, and she reached down. She grabbed me by the shirt collar like that. She raised me above her head with one arm, She looked at me in a real gruff voice and she said, the last person that did that ought to live 10 minutes. I drew my hand up like that and looked at my watch and I said, well, let me down. I got 9 more to go. She let me down. I ran. My baby sister, she went to the chiropractor with me one time. She'd never been to the chiropractor before, had never been, didn't know what they did or anything. She was scared of them, and I said, sister, it ain't nothing to it, they don't hurt you really. If you're sore, yeah, it may be a little tender. She wanted to see what they did. So I'm there, on the treatment table, and the doctor comes in, and she sat on the corner. He comes in and starts twisting me up like a pretzel and popping me like Rice Krispies. I look over at her as he's twisting me around, she's got the funniest look on her face, just looking weird. He gets done with me and goes out of the room, and I look over at her and I said, what do you think, sister? And she's like this. She said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give him about an 8.5 on his performance, but his dismount needs just a little bit of work. Went to the chiropractor one by myself one time. I was hurting so bad. It's been raining outside, my bones was hurting. And I was sitting there on the treatment table waiting for the doctor to come in. I got to crying a little bit because I was hurting so bad, and he comes in. He's all chipper, don't you hate it when you're feeling bad and somebody else ain't? He comes in, he sits down beside of me, puts his arm up around me, and he said, what's the matter, honey? I said, Doc, I just don't understand it. Why do I got to hurt so darn bad? He drops his arm down, opens up my chart, and he looks at it, closes it back, and he looks at me and smiles, and he says, well, I'll tell you what, honey. He said, you're a 34-year-old woman in the body of a 103-year-old lady. I looked at him, smiled, and I said, I'll tell you what. Dang, I look good. That's about all I got for you this evening, but I just want to leave you one little bit of advice. If you ever find yourself in a noisy bathroom, public bathroom, and suddenly it falls silent, and you happen to be the one that makes those rude, manly noises, just simply say, sorry about that, folks. Just tuning up the band. We'll be taking requests just a few minutes. Thank you, though. That's from the management. Thank you, guys. You've been great.